Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Boomer Pod podcast, where we interview celebrities aged 59 to 77 plus. Our guest today is Mr. Brian Donahue, who, among other things,
Hi, everyone.
Is a movie and television actor, a stunt coordinator, and a stunt double.
Correct.
A warm welcome to you, Brian, and thanks for agreeing.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for agreeing to be
Go ahead.
interviewed on the Boomer Pod podcast.
Mr. Potester, it's an absolute honor to be with you and your audience, and I've heard nothing but great things about your work, and congratulations on your wonderful novels, and it's just, you've got a resume that goes from A to Z also, so it's a pleasure. It's my honor. Thank you.
Well, thank you. But this is about you. You're one amazing guy, Brian. I hardly know where to begin.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. You've been a professional football player with some major NFL teams, a professional wrestler, a track and field star and coach, a mixture of Hollywood movie and film stunt and acting roles, a faithful and loving husband who has a star daughter.
Well, I try to be.
There you go.
Yeah, my daughter Jessica, yes, absolutely.
And a loyal day worker for UPS. What motivates you?
Let me tell you, what can Brown do for you? And yes, I absolutely love it. I ended up going to UPS just real quick. I went into UPS years ago. I got busted up doing a show, and I needed somewhere to get myself functioning again as I was rehabbing my knee. And I ended up going over to UPS, and it was in the wee hours. And from the get-go, they were very flexible and allowed me to, if I had a show coming up or if I had a deal going on, they would give me the day or 2 days off to go do that project and then come back to them. So they were a nice, safe oasis when I needed it. I was trying to get back in the game, so I appreciate that.
You know, I see you as a polite alpha male. How would you describe yourself?
I try to be a gentleman, and, people describe me, my brother Jack up in Boston used to tell me that I'm a street kid with a little polish. My parents always instilled in me and the family up in Boston to be respectful of everyone, no matter what the circumstance, no matter which way they're coming at you, and just to be respectful and kind of heart. And then I've tried to carry that through in all aspects of my career. So
Here's a quote.
Go ahead.
I want to give them more than they paid for. That seems to define you.
We're in the same mind frame here, because as you said, here's a quote. I kind of had a feeling you were going to come up with that. Yeah, I always want to give more than they're paying me for, or more than they're giving me. I always believed in giving 200% in any endeavor that I took on. So and it's like when you get knocked down, you get back up and you keep going and you keep going. You try to achieve, and success isn't always the end result. Success is definitely, and to me, is the journey and the battle and the fights that you have along the way to make it to a certain plateau. And so I always want to give that 200%, not 100. I go for 200. Then if I fall somewhere between 100 and 200, we'll go. So yes, sir.
That's wonderful. Now, your wife of over 33 years, Lori, seems
37.
37 years.
37.
That's amazing for the entertainment industry.
Let me tell you something. My wife is absolutely has been my mainstay actually for the last 37 years. My daughter is 36 years old. Okay, and her and I have worked our way up through the ranks of this business. She is actually office manager and an accountant at an accounting firm here in Long Island, and She started out with her dad years ago. She's got a great work ethic, and now she's with Scott Broder here on Long Island, and she has such a strong work ethic. She's in the middle of tax season, and in between, she's helping me set up cameras and microphones and things to try to get us together. And I'm saying, well, I don't know the lighting. I'm sitting there like a prima donna saying, I don't know, the plant is in the way of it. She's like, she has been absolute gold. And I just want to say that
To,
public record.
tell,
Yeah.
tell me about love, Brian.
Oh my God. About love?
Yeah.
Just opening your heart and just knowing that you have that person and you have that person that you can like I said before, good, bad, or indifferent, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it doesn't matter. They keep that same demeanor and they keep that same, and you towards them also. Just to be open-hearted, just to be gentle. I've had stunt people. I was recently out in L.A. I was working a film, Joker 2, Folie à out there with Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix. And the stunt coordinator there, I was there as an actor in an acting capacity. But the stunt coordinator, we got to talking out there, and he said, "You know what you are?" And I said, "No." And I was waiting for the answer, and he said, "You're a gentle giant." He goes, "You got a big heart." And the actual crew began giving me the nickname Downtown. Now, first I thought they were making fun of me. Something, I had that New York Boston edge. So I'm like, wait, what does that mean? Downtown, like, but I'm down in the dumps. Or what was that? They go, no, that's an absolute compliment coming from us because it means that you're legitimate and you're no guff. There's no airs. There's no smoke and mirrors. It is what it is, and you tell it like it is. And that's why Laurie and I think that have gotten on so well over the years because there is there's no secrets, there's no, there's no smoke and mirrors. It's all straight up, and we're honest with each other, and we've, like I say, we met at Iona College in New Rochelle in 1985, and been together ever since.
You're
And so, yeah, things are good.
you're blessed.
Yeah.
You're blessed,
Yes, sir.
without a doubt.
My aunt and my mom up in Boston, God rest their souls, are in heaven now. But they used to say to my wife every time we were there, every time over the years, "Bless your wife." They'd say, "Bless you, Laurie, for putting up with him." And and all the antics and all the things and all the ups and downs and the lifestyle we have. They go, "Bless your wife." And I go, "That's nice. What about me?" They go, "You already are blessed." Yeah.
And how does she deal with the danger?
Well, you know what? She obviously is very concerned, and I know that when we had done a documentary a couple of years ago called the Brian Donahue story, and when we did that, um, it was funny because she's quoted several times. Well, she's on, her and I are both on this documentary, and she said several times, she worries about me, and she likes to know what I did on these shows if it's heavy duty action after the fact, when I'm home, when I'm safe, and I'm telling her what went on after the fact because then she knows I'm okay. She doesn't like me to give her too much of the information prior because, she doesn't want to be thinking all day while she's in an office and, she's trying to live her day that I'm out there and who knows what's going on. So, yeah. And she's gotten those calls a few times where I've gotten banged up and, with the concussions and maybe broken bones here or there or whether it's a tendon sneering up. She's gotten those phone calls. So, her concern is merited and, it's a real deal. But she's been good though. She knows it's the name of the game, and she knows that's the lifestyle that I chose, and that's the career path that I chose. So yeah, she's okay with it, and Even if she isn't, she's not going to say it because she doesn't want to deter from what we need to do.
Sounds like a good woman.
She's absolutely fantastic.
Now, in 2018, Brian, you booked over
Yes, sir.
10 film and television roles for major networks
Yes.
and studios.
Yes.
They were a mixture of stunt and acting roles. Has
Yes, sir.
that continued through the present day?
Absolutely. I'm just picking up steam. Like I said, I'm working. I just finished. All right, let's backtrack a second. I just prior to I think it was October, I did a film here in New York City with Robert De Niro and Bobby Cannavale as a stunt actor, and playing my own character and then doing my own action along with it, called Inappropriate Behavior, which comes out in October. But then we parlayed and we went right into Joker 2, where I went in as an actor. So it's interchangeable. I'm a stunt actor where I do both. I'm a stunt man where I just do the action, or I'm a straight actor. So it varies. But and then I just got off of Law and Order SVU last week. I was working with Jennifer Lamb, the stunt coordinator, and I was stunt doubling. So I stunt double various actors. If they're big guys, they know that I'm good to go. They'll bring me in and I'll do their action for them. And so yeah, I've had a lot. I've done a lot of spots in the last couple of years, but I have two films, actually several films that I'm working on presently. One is called The Last Day of Donahue, and it's about a Irish mobster out of South Boston, out of Boston originally, a little true to life, out of Boston originally, who ends up down in New York, and basically he ends up maybe doing the wrong things towards a certain faction that he's working with, basically Italians, here in New York, and he disappears for a while, many years, and then he shows up back in New York. But the script, what happened was when we were on this little mini tour my wife went on with the guy, the Brian Donahue story, the documentary, we met up with a couple of production people, one being a director, one an editor, one a screenwriter. And the screenwriter, he wrote actually the screenplay for me based on some similar events, not the mobster events, but based on life experiences and different conversations we had. We had a couple of talks. He wrote a script for me, so we're working on that. They just started. I think it was I don't know the business end of it, but they're doing Indiegogo, the last days of Tom Higgins. They're doing that. I believe they started that up this week. But anyway, yeah, Michael Lavaglio, Michael Aboy, Russ Camarda out there, the producers. But we're working on that. I'm working with my friend Roberto Lopez here in New York. He's a consummate professional stuntman. He's been doing stunt and action longer than I have, and he has a company called Stuntwork. He's doing his own personal project. He said, he called me when I was up in Boston doing a show a couple of years ago. And said, listen, he sent an email actually to Laurie, and he said, I'm doing this, I wrote a script, I want to do this thing with action. It's a buddy film, but it has to do with, because I thought of you when I wrote this. I had you in mind. Right? My wife forwarded me the script email version, and it says the title is The Last Guy. And I said, okay. So you thought of me. So he wrote this brilliant script. We're working on that. Yeah, so yeah, answer to your question. I know I take a long time to answer.
That's okay.
My mind goes. That we've got a lot going right now. We've got a lot in the works, and yeah, things are great. Things that I've got like a 20-year-old's career right now.
Correct.
You know, someone just getting going. All of a sudden, things start hitting, and I've hit more, you know, in the last several years than I did maybe my whole career. Because not that I wasn't doing a lot of different projects or working on a lot of shows, but it seems to me, well, I guess the year's in, the time in, the projects have gotten just a little bigger and a little more of a higher scale. And so, yeah, it's been real good. So things are good. And like you said earlier, I'm still over at UPS. I was over there this morning. I'll be over there tomorrow
That's
morning.
amazing.
And you know what? There's something to be said for people over there that these kids, half of them walk there. You know, a 2 mile walk from Hempstead here on Long Island to Oak Street over in Uniondale. They walk there every day, and so I get such a surge of energies from these kids because I said, my God, I said, look at the heart, look at the soul, look at the spirit these kids got to be able to do this day in and day out. And the work isn't easy. I mean, it's heavy crates and solo flexes and generators. I mean, half of these kids weigh less than the boxes they're moving. You know what I'm saying? But you know, like I
Amazing.
said, they've been real good to me. The local 804, the union, they've been good to me. And like when I had to go to LA, the bosses and the union got together and they allotted me that time to go out to California for the month. And we were in peak season. Now that tells you something that we've got a good rapport going and that things are things are positive over there. And but yeah.
Now, on the new film, you're going to play an Irish mobster.
Yes, the name of the character is well, it's the last days of Tommy Higgins, and I'm playing Tommy Higgins,
And how are you?
and thus the beard. We look like twins, by the
I
way.
know.
We
I
could be
know.
brothers,
I
maybe.
know.
Yes, sir.
I know.
But Tommy Higgins.
How are you going to prepare for that role?
Well, actually, we already shot. We already did shoot several scenes, and they put that together into a short film version and submitted it to various film festivals already. So we did the proof of concept, if you will, and it's a 9.5, almost 10 minute short film that we did. And basically, to prepare for that, I mean, I can take from so many life experiences and living life and touching life up in Boston growing up. I mean, you know, we're up there and we had Boston, South Boston, Eastie, we had, uh, 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 you know, we had some characters up there. Let's just say that, and we were friendly with a lot of people who God, God rest their souls, they're not with us anymore. And my brother used to say to me when I was to my brothers used to say to me, you know, and my dad, that you know, up where we're from up there, you either you're either a good guy, a bad guy, or you're not a guy. I said, what does that mean? And they said, this when I was a kid, they're telling me. They said, a lot of people up there, you either become a policeman, a law enforcement, you're a criminal, or you're in the morgue, you're dead. You're up at St. Mary's or up at Randolph Cemetery. So yeah, I've had this, you know, a lot of interaction with people over the years that you know, good-hearted people, good souls. Just you know, I mean, people's lives go which way they go, and you grow up in a certain lifestyle. So I had a lot of people that I remember having, you know, vivid talks with as a kid all the way up, and that were friends of our family, and you know, so yeah.
Tell me about working with the De Niro character.
Well, actually, I ended up working on that show, Inappropriate Behavior. It's feature film, and it's Robert De Niro, Bobby Cannavale, Whoopi Goldberg, Rainn Wilson, and just as the list goes on. It was actually directed by from the TV show Scandal, Tony Goldwyn,
Okay.
who played the president on Scandal. He was the director. So I'm standing there, and basically my scene was with Bobby Cannavale, and so you know, my interaction and the physicality and the dialogue, everything was with him. But well, I can give you the plot line of it. He basically because it's listed in IMDb. He basically is estranged from his wife, and you know whatever, and his child is on the spectrum with autism, and so he ends up, he wants custody and this and that, and they're going back and forth. Well, he ends up taking this kid. He basically kidnaps his own kid, and so it's a dramedy. It's a comedy drama, but he takes his kid cross country on a tour. He decides he's given up his normal job, which he was doing very well at, and he decides he's going to be a stand-up comic.
Oh.
So he ends up taking this kid and they cross country. But I'm going to tell you, just from the scene I worked in, they touched me. The kid and him touched me just in that quick, probably 45-second minute, scene we did. I mean, I got choked up a little bit because, wow, I said, that's the real deal. My daughter, by the way, on a side note, my daughter Jessica is a teacher. Actually, she's in administration now and teaching in Alexandria, Virginia. She's been down there for the last 12 or 13 years now. She came out of Rutgers University, and she is works with children with autism and special needs. So God bless her. She's doing God's work down there. And so I talked to her a little bit too about that, the role that I was working on, and she gave me some insight onto how to react or interact with the young man who was the actor who was fabulous. So that was a great shoot. That was wonderful.
So you have two beautiful women in your life.
I absolutely do.
Good for you.
Thank God.
Good for you.
Yes, knock on wood, right?
Speaking of comedy, is it true that you performed at Caroline's Comedy Club?
I absolutely did. It's funny. When people tell you when you're with the family, you're hanging out there, oh, you're so funny, you're so funny. And then they say to people, don't think that you're going to be a stand-up comic just because your family thinks you're funny. Because the general public may hate you. You may be getting hit with tomatoes and, get the hook and pull them off the stage. Well, my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law, Joellen Welter and Susan DeThomas, they decided that, for Christmas one year, they were going to give me a free course in New York City, and with this teacher who's an established comedian, Linda Smith, was doing this. I think it was 7 weeks I had to go. It was 7 2-hour sessions or whatever in Manhattan, and do stand-up comedy. Well, we went in there, and she was brutal. I mean, she was excellent. She was very on point because she's been on the road with this years, traveling to some of the roughest joints in the world where they have the chicken wire in front of the stage so the people go into their bottles into like a Caesar's Palace. So she's going the whole gamut. City and Vegas. Well, I took the course, and what they do is for your graduation is they have one day, it's a Sunday, and they have you go in and you do your set, and basically invite friends and family, and they have food and everything, and it's wonderful. And we did this thing. Well, then they took a liking to me, Caroline, and Caroline Hickfield, who was herself, who was the owner of Caroline. She took a liking to me, all right, when I was doing these bringer shows on Monday nights where they, you bring so many people, they let you perform as a thing. I wasn't looking to be the next, the next George Carlin. I wasn't looking to be the next this or that. I was just in it for the experience, like a lot of things in my life. And you know what? It was wonderful. I probably did about 10 shows at Caroline. And you know what? I learned it. I learned the pace, and I learned, and some of these very strong were, they said you got to do it, you got to stop. But, to do that full time, you have to really, I've been a guy, people have called me a Renaissance man, where I've done so many different things, and they call me Forrest Gump, because I've touched all these different things and done, maybe a few years here, a year here, a month, but in so many different aspects, in so many different mediums of the business that, I wasn't in it to be a full-time comic, but you know what? I got that full-time comic experience, and I got that like you were there, and all of a sudden in the audience, that Daryl Hammond from Saturday Night Live is there, Judah Friedlander, and this one, and they're getting up and doing a set right after you or right before you. And so that was fabulous. It was like being on an A-list roster on a comedy show. And so I had a great experience. And thank you very much, Carolyn. Thank you very much. It was wonderful. And Joanna and Susan, thanks for the support. But yeah,
Well,
had a great time.
Chaz Palminteri did a few stand-up
Yes,
comedies himself, and he was
right,
he
right.
was quoted as saying that he didn't mind doing the stand-up comedy, but it was difficult being around the crazy comedians that he had to deal with.
Yeah, they are some characters, and it's funny because you look and it's like you see them look at each other. Me, they're not worried about. I'm just the big Irish guy from Boston and New York, and I'm in there, and I walked in, and I'm transparent with everything I do. I said, listen, I'm not here. Don't. I'd walk in, but I'd be funny. I said, don't worry about me. I'm not here to take your jobs. All right. And they're looking like, who is this guy? Who is he? And I explained, listen, I'm just here, for the experience and I appreciate being here and I'm honored to be involved with this. And so there was no question, that I was just there to do what I was there to do. And but a lot of them would look at each other because maybe they were competing for the same HBO special
Right.
or for they wanted to get on Letterman or they wanted to get on at that time Leno or this one, maybe there was, there's competition, there's maybe some tension. With me though, I just sat back and watched the show. That was sometimes backstage is funnier than out on the stage. Yeah,
Now,
yes, sir.
I understand that one of your favorite travel destinations is Paris. That's really a strange favorite for a big tough guy like you. What is it that you like about the City of Lights?
Paris, where did that come up? Where did you see that?
My research.
Paris, listen, the closest I've been to Paris is having French fries. I, I'll be honest. You know what? I have all these people that say, "Oh, I travel here, I travel there, I do all these things." Okay, and they say that I think this is where it came from, but someone twisted it on you. Uh, when these people say, "Oh, I'm going on a trip to China, I'm going on a trip to England, I'm going there for a week, and then we're traveling over to Morocco," and I said, "I did all those countries in a day," and they're like, "In a day? That's not even logistically possible." I said, "Yeah, many times I've done that." I said, "My wife and Jessica and I said, we were living at Disney when I worked at Walt Disney World. We used to go to Epcot Center." I said, "I don't know why these people want to pay so much money for these exorbitant trips when they could just cover all of them in one walk around." But anyway, no.
I don't know where I
But
got
Paris
it.
is
I don't know where I got it, but I got it someplace.
a beautiful city.
Yeah, it is a
Yeah,
beautiful city. It is a beautiful city. I was in Europe for 2.5 years in the military. I was stationed in
fabulous.
Stuttgart, Germany,
Wow. Yeah,
and
I
I
know. Yeah,
spent a lot of time in Paris. The job I had
yeah.
allowed me to travel whenever I wanted, so I want to get
Wow.
into that. But Paris is a great city. It's
Oh,
a
that's
great
fabulous.
city.
That that's exciting.
Give
Wow.
me your reflections, please, on aging.
It's funny because when I just to give you an example, I go to do these shows, all right? I go to do these films or TV shows, and I'll get to your point, but the young stunt guys and stunt ladies, whatever, they look at me now, excuse me, like I'm a legend. And actually say, "You're a legend, sir. You've been around this game for 35 years and there's pieces of you in every borough in New York and abroad and you've paid your dues umpteen times and you've taken it to the ultimate lengths of stunt actor, playing your own kid." And they'll say, "You're getting older." But aging, you know what? It's all like they say, it's just a number. I feel better and more on point now than I did probably when I was in my 20s and early 30s when I was
Really?
first getting going. I feel good. Now, I've been banged around many a time. Trust me on that. I've been banged around with concussions and broken bones and physical, different physical ailments over the years. But I had a coach down at the University of Texas, the Longhorns, and Mike Parker. And I used to call him Mike Parker, because I'm from Boston. And he used to say to us, he'd go, if someone was busted up or got beat up on the field, he'd say, hey, and he'd look at you like this, and he had the Texas, drawl. He was a ex-Marine, highly decorated Marine war hero. And he goes, and with a hat down over his eyes, he goes, are you injured or you hurt? And I said, what? He goes, are you injured or you hurt if you be knocked on the field? You got hit pretty good down there, but the guy would be on the field. Are you injured or you hurt? And the kid would say, what does that mean? He goes, well, if you're injured, that means we want to get you off the field, have medical personnel take a look at you, and you cannot continue. But if you're hurt, get up. So that stuck in my head from 1981, 82, and that stuck in my head. I'll take a hit and I'll get knocked around, and people say, oh man, they get worried because you're older than these 20 somethings. But I'll get knocked down and get knocked down and get knocked, and you take a pretty good shot. And it was a good hit, but you're so used to it from the years of experience of doing it, of actually taking those hits, that you lay there and you get a little grimace on your face. And all of a sudden, I'll say to myself, I'll be on the ground, and you'll hear production. You'll hear the casting crew saying, is he okay? Is he okay? To me, that's the biggest compliment in the world. And I'll lay there with a sly grin on my face, and I'll say to myself, are you injured or you hurt? And get up. And we get up and we go. But am I getting older? Yeah, I am. But you know what? I'm not. I'm just getting going. That's the way I look at it. I'm just getting going.
And how about retirement?
Well, I don't know what that word is. I couldn't even spell that for you right now. Retirement, no. I'm going to go till they say that's it for you and you're out. But I'm, no, like I say, I've talked to a lot of coordinators. They go, you're in a great spot. He goes, because you're an older guy. He goes, but you can play now. Play the businessman. Play this, play that. Playing the businessman, playing a. I did a film. I worked on a film with Kenneth Frank and his wife, Shauna Brandel, here on Long Island. Husband and wife team, which is right up my alley, right? I met them at a film festival. He had written a script. He got in touch with Laurie and said, we want to do this film. It's, going to be low budget, but it's going to be shot right here, and we're going to shoot it in a week. Well, sent the script, and he wanted me to play the patriarch of the family, the dad, in this. One of the daughters is getting married. He has two other daughters. His wife and him are estranged, so they're at each other the whole time. And my sister's wedding, and I just started reading Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm like, Jesus, don't say anything bad. I'm too old. I don't know if I can take the abuse. But they've had some great reviews, and people seem to like it. But I was able to there was no action for me involved in this at all. And I probably had 250 to 270 lines of dialogue. And some of that dialogue was pretty intricate because this guy's brilliant, Kenneth Frank, that wrote it. So I've been fortunate because many, many years ago, probably when I first got in the game, I'm in New York and I'm in a Screen Actors Guild. And I met up with these two ladies who were teaching these seminars and classes on acting and commercial acting. And it was Nina Dova, and Madeline Mafia. Well, these two, there was no air about them. They were not arrogant. They were just pleasant, heavy-duty theater actors. But then you start finding out that they've done umpteen Broadway shows and they've been nominated for Tonys. These were legit, serious, classically trained actresses. And they told me, we were having lunch one day. We used to meet up all the time and hang out and talk. And Nina Dova would say, darling, what you need to do, very elegant, what you need to do is take your athletic background with the stunts and the acting end of it and parlay and combine and make a lovely cake to present to producers, directors, and casting directors, because you can play your own character and then do your own action along with it. So thus you give them a double-edged sword. And that's what we did. And that's how we worked it. And I mean that was 30 plus years ago, and yeah, it's come to fruition. And she was right because if you can give them a lot more than they give you, you're gonna go.
Now let me find out from you how you differentiate between acting and stunt work.
Okay. Basically, you know what? It's funny because I'm able to immerse myself in a character pretty easily, and I think that has to do a lot with life experiences and just having experienced a lot of different things in life and being able to pull from those experiences. But it's funny because the acting and the stunts they go hand in hand. Because I feel to be a solid stuntman, you need to know exactly. I mean, I would even if I was just doing a thing where I'm doubling a guy and okay, bring in the stunt guy, and all of a sudden he gets knocked to the ground. I want to know why he's getting knocked to the ground. I want to know what's the backstory. How did he end up in this position? And I used to ask questions, and the stunt coordinators and the other stunt guys would look at me like, "What are you talking about? Why are you asking the?" I said, "It's important." I said, "You need to know what the scene is. You need to be able to break down the scene, and you need to know what your character is dealing with at that time." So like I said, I love heavy duty. I love character driven films, and I love character driven TV shows. And if there's the action involved with it, that's wonderful. But like I said, my sister's wedding. It was all on the acting end of it, and it was fun. So I think that the acting and stuff, I wanted to know them together. And if it happens to be some action, great. And if it's all action, or it's comedy, I can hit on all cylinders on it. So, yeah.
Now, how often have you been a stunt coordinator?
No, actually, just a couple of times, and it was just on commercial ones, and then I actually did a Law and Order episode. I'm not a stunt coordinator. I'm a stunt man and an actor. So I never wanted to get into that. People said to me years ago, "Well, geez, why don't you become a stunt coordinator? Why don't you do this?" You know what? I'm that old school guy that just is happy to show up and do my gig and do my fight, do my fall, do my acting end of it, and then get out the door. These guys have to, it's more, well, they have to be, they know their stuff. They've come from where I am and worked their way up. But you have to be logistically, you have to be on point with, it's more of a business end of things and dealing with production and production meetings and this and this. I myself, I said I want to just stay right in the game and be on the front line, if you will, in the trenches. And so I have done some coordinating, and I do know how to set up a fight and a fall and a this and that. But as far as coordinating full time, I just never had any real interest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but, yeah,
Well, that's good. That's good. You're an honest
yeah.
man.
Well, I'm being honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you are honest. That's good. Anything you want to
thank you.
plug?
Just like I said, we're working on the last days of Tommy Higgins, and like I said, they're doing that Indiegogo, and when that's a business thing, that's what they do, and gonna play the hell out of Tommy Higgins, I guarantee that. And the short version was wonderful, and these guys were on point, so I'm happy about that. The last fat guy, a lot of laughs. The last fat guy with Roberto Lopez, working on that. My sister's wedding, and now I think it is doing a festival run or looking to push into festivals, and then hopefully that will end up on maybe Netflix. I don't know which way that's going to go, but the film actually they did a great job. And again, the shot that so they were great. Yeah, I'm just I'm plugging away, and I'm going to keep going. And tomorrow morning, if anyone's getting anything from UPS here in New York, the chances are the Dublin Destroyer handled that package tomorrow. So
You're amazing, Mr. Donahue. You're amazing.
You're amazing, sir. You're very pleasant. You're very easy to interview with and speak with.
Well,
And
thank
yeah,
you.
you
Thank you.
well, you're a smart man. I know that. And your novels, my God, I mean, you're a brilliant dude.
Well, I don't know about
You know,
that.
I went to Exeter. I attended Phillips Exeter Academy in New Hampshire, and for a year after high school. And on the list it said on who was accepted where, not accepted, but who is attending in the following fall, and it had Harvard. And this is out of a high school, Exeter Academy. It said Harvard, 23 people, Yale, 15, Cornell, this, and I'm like, where's my name? I don't see my name anywhere. And I folded over. I was on my own sheet. They put University of Texas on the other side by myself. I go, that's not right. But, it is what it is. But, yeah, I had a great experience there, though. It was wonderful.
Well,
Up in the hills of New Hampshire.
thank you for being with us today, Brian. And
Oh,
thank
it's
you,
wonderful.
thank you for sharing.
Of course, and we appreciate you, and God bless, and I hope everything's well with everyone out there, and thank you.
Will you return sometime? Give us an update.
I would absolutely love to. Any time that's convenient for you, I'll be there for you. Oh, by the way, I got to send you some of these. These are from 1991. The Dublin Destroyer. The Dublin Destroyer, vintage cars. I'm going to send you a bunch of these.
That sounds great.
And you want to see how good Laurie is? I kept trying to tell people about the documentary that E.J. McCleavey Fisher and his wife Veronica Balta did. And she said, well, yeah, if you tell them, they're going to look it up. But sometimes it doesn't translate. Then you got to write it down for them, and they have to try to find it. Well, she printed. I came home one day, and she goes, oh, that's for you, an Amazon box. And it was, here we go.
The guy,
the Brian Donahue story. She even went to the extent of putting in a QR code on the back. So there's no question. So now I got these kids over at UPS I give them cards, and all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, they see some old guy working next to them, and all of a sudden they're looking at their phones and they're looking up going, yeah, kind of fun,
Well, you are the guy. There's no question about it. You're the guy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Be well.
Thank you.
Don't get hurt.
No, we'll keep going. Like I say, that's inevitable. But you know what? It's all to the extent. We just keep going. We keep rolling with it. Are you injured or you hurt? Get up.
And my best to your wife and your daughter.
Laurie said hi.
God bless.
You say hello. Thank you, sir. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.